Hi, my name is Karen Deers. I'm the City Director for Refuge for Women Las Vegas, a national organization, and I'm very honored to be here today. Refuge for Women came to Las Vegas about 4 or 5 years ago, and they really felt like, of all places, why don't we have a safe house here in Las Vegas to help women who have been exploited or victims of human trafficking? And so at the time, my husband and I lived here in Vegas, and I had a lot of time on my hands, and I was trying to figure out what could I do to help this city. And this was just a perfect match and perfect timing, so I became the city director in 2014. A gentleman by the name of Ked Frank founded Refuge for Women 10 years ago out of Lexington, Kentucky. He was responding to a need for women who have been exploited in the sex industry or who have been victims of human trafficking to find a place of help and healing and rehabilitation. The average age a girl enters human trafficking is 12 to 14. If a child, let's say, is a runaway and is out walking on the streets, we know that within 48 hours, a pimp will try to pick that individual up. About a third of children that our runaways are picked up by a pimp within 48 hours. It's a $100 billion industry worldwide. Here in Las Vegas alone, illegal prostitution adds up to about $5 billion. That said, who really knows? Yes, hundreds of women are brought in by the Metro and Vice to try to help them, but human trafficking is everywhere, and it's in every city. And women are treated as a commodity. And unlike drugs or alcohol that you could use up and have to go seek more, a woman will be used over and over and over again, sometimes 15 times a night. A woman finds herself in this situation for many reasons. But we know that a child who is been a victim of childhood sexual abuse is made very vulnerable. Whether it's a child or a teenager, foster care system, a broken home, a troubled home, child becomes a runaway, gets involved in prostitution, a gang. It's vulnerability, and when that individual feels like they don't have answers in the home or help in the home, it goes way up statistically that that child becomes a victim a lot more easier than a child that grows up in a healthy home. And out of that vulnerability comes opportunity, for lack of a better word, for that individual to be abused. Statistically, 95% of women who are involved in illegal prostitution, if they were asked if they wanted to get out, could they would say they can't. There's no place to go. No, they need shelter, they need protection, they need services and addiction recovery programming. And that's why Refuge for Women responded to that call to become a place where women could have those services so they could heal from trauma. Women that have been victims of human trafficking and sexual exploitation are often left with years of trauma and addictions to drugs and alcohol. So we believe that the first step is just stability and safety. This woman needs to be in a place where she knows she's safe. She needs to be in a place where there's informed trauma care for her, professional counseling, group therapy. We need to take several months right at the start of our program to heal the heart. The woman needs time to not only feel safe, but to go to addiction recovery classes and to be in group settings where they learn to be a family, to be sisters, to be loved. And we really want them to know that they were created for a higher calling, a higher purpose, and it wasn't that. And so as survivors, ending up in a home like Refuge for Women, stability and safety is the first thing, and we want the heart to be healed. And then we go into another phase, which is job prep. And some women need to get their GED, so we help them with that. We start talking about personality development, leadership skills. What were you created for? What do you enjoy? What do you want to do? And at the end of the day, we want them to fulfill their dreams. We want them to work, feel safe, still get the counseling, still contain that, that family atmosphere in the home with the other women, but we want them to work and to be able to explore what a career would look like. What do they want to do? But in the home, the whole time, they're also learning life skills. Refuge for Women employs a 24/7 professional staff that work with our women night and day. However, we need volunteers. And we need women to volunteer, come into our program and do life with our residents. Help them cook, learn, do physical fitness classes, be that second set of eyes just around our home, be ready to help them with their homework. There's a lot of volunteer opportunities in the Safe House as well as outside the Safe House. So we do events and we need people to help run booths and help us raise money to keep the Safe House open and keep it strong. And so we always need volunteers, and so anybody can find out about that by going to the website, refugeforwomen.org.
Hi, my name is Jules, and I am a survivor of childhood sex trafficking, domestic violence, and addiction. I was rescued by an organization in my hometown. The lady there actually found Refuge for Women online and suggested I fill out an application, which I half-heartedly did, and to my surprise was accepted and quickly put on a plane to Vegas. Refuge for Women really touches on every area of your life. Everything from emotional healing to spiritual connection. It will help you work on your physical. There's financial involved. It's basically starting over from the beginning. Life before and after the Refuge House is very different. Coming in, you learn to live in community. There are usually a total of 6 residents in the house at all times, not to mention a whole army of staff and volunteers, therapists, and you're just constantly going and working on yourself, and you have a routine and a schedule, and everything's very structured. I have had to be very intentional about keeping that structure in my life outside of the Refuge home. I can honestly say that my worst day today is better than my best day then. I didn't realize how crazy all of that was, because when I was in it, it seemed so normal. I thought everyone else was crazy. And until you get far enough removed from all of that to see how crazy it actually is, now that I'm there, I would definitely never go back. It's a struggle living in community with 6 other women, all in different phases of healing. It can get hard not to judge someone because of their differences. It's hard to look at life through someone else's filter, but that's one of the amazing things that Refuge teaches. You also learn to stop chasing the pursuit of perfection, and you trade it for something better, which is peace. You don't have to be just like everyone else. It's okay. God made you unique and special and beautiful in your own way. Living in community really allows you to see the beauty inside of someone that you would have never, ever met otherwise. To celebrate my first year clean and sober after an 18-year heroin habit, I decided to get a tattoo. And it says, "Under his wings you will find refuge," Psalm 91:4. What I would say to any woman in need of help is care about yourself enough to get it. You are worthy, you are loved, you have purpose, you have potential to do great things. and you don't have to stay stuck.